In the world of Minecraft, ray tracing is probably one of the most well-known features. Even before Nvidia came out with their version of ray tracing, the modding community has always been hard at work trying to bring the feature to fans, and I would say that they succeeded in doing so pretty well, at least on PC. Today I want to explore the world of ray tracing in Minecraft firsthand and see what all of the fuss is about. Although console fans have been clamoring for RTX for a while now, it is still noticeably missing from the game. Maybe by playing RTX enable Minecraft on PC, I can get a better understanding as to why we do not have the feature yet for console users, and spoiler alert, after playing it myself I completely understand why ray tracing is still absent from Xbox. So for today's video and probably for the next few weeks, I want to go over and explore every official RTX world that there is in the Minecraft marketplace. I want to play through all of them myself and see what all of the fuss is about. I recently upgraded my 10-year-old PC and got myself an RTX 50 series card, and I am now ready for whatever this feature has to offer. So for those who do not know, there is no official RTX option, at least not to my knowledge. Ray tracing in Java is not an option, and in Bedrock you do not have the option of enabling ray tracing in a randomly generated world. So how does all of it work? Well, you need to go into the marketplace, download a pre-generated world and play on it. With all of that, ray tracing in Minecraft does come with a lot of limitations. Some worlds are only survival with very few exploring possibilities, and other worlds are strictly creative with no option to try and survive in it. Now before I go ahead and spoil my ultimate conclusion, let's just go ahead and see what these random maps have to offer. Nvidia has a bunch of them, at least more than 10 based on my counting, so I will be playing through all of them. For today I will only be playing through 2, but I will eventually be making my way through all of them. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the first one, and that is Hilltop Lifestyle. For this map you start off in a randomly generated tower, and luckily there is some immediate food for you as this is still survival. You will be wise to grab as much as you can, and yes, that includes the basic armor and weapons too. Now let's be real, none of us are here for the weapons and survival, but rather to see what the ray tracing fuss is all about, and honestly it did not disappoint at first glance. The world looks amazing and it is almost hard to believe that this is the same game, but I did want to explore things a little bit more up close, so it was time to go down and see this world in its full glory. Even before making it outside and seeing the world properly, it was already clear that some drastic improvements was made to the game. The amount of detail that was being put into each block was truly amazing. The difference that just a bit of lighting can make is breathtaking. When I finally made it outside, I had to debate whether or not I wanted to continue forward. It was nighttime, and honestly I was looking forward to seeing the world during the daytime, but I thought that it was also a good opportunity to see both, starting off with the night. The early demo showed off some truly amazing night skies, so it was a great opportunity to go and explore that. Now as you can expect for this specific map, the night sky did not do much for the game. If anything, it actually made things worse, at least compared to when the sun was out. Ray tracing needs light, and it seemed that there is no better source than the sun. Now one thing that is noticeable here though is the fact that how beautiful all of the world look from afar, especially when looking at the well lit places. The night sky might not do much for the world, but the light sources definitely did. To be honest, this version of ray tracing, although you could see some improvements at night, it was not that overwhelming. What did stand out most was how they were able to use the smallest of light source to completely change a certain element of the game. Obviously, since I am in a large town, the details will be much higher since everything is in close proximity to each other, but that does not change the fact that the differences are very noticeable. Even at nighttime, when there is no large light resource, you could still see the reflections on the blocks outside, and it did make a massive difference to how the world looked overall. They also made it so that it would reflect naturally and not just make every block look shiny. You can see, for instance, the light reflect on smooth sandstone but not on normal sand. You can see the light bouncing around on wood at the right angle, but they would make sure not to do the same thing with grass. The same can be said for smooth stone and also cobblestone. It is a small thing, but once all of the blocks are brought together like this in a large town or city, it can actually make a massive difference. They did a really good job with the shadows, and overall the changes made here was visible, but not in such a way where some will complain that the game no longer looks the same. You will still feel like this is Minecraft, but just with some added flavor. But with that said though, I was ready to explore it during the daytime. During the day, everything is pretty much flipped on its head, as you can imagine. Just by first glance, you probably won't notice much of a difference here, but as the sun starts to hit certain spots, the differences does become immediate. Depending on where you are on the map will obviously make a huge difference. Again, this is all about natural light. Both Mojang and Nvidia made it clear that what they were trying to do with RTX was make the light reflect like it would in the real world, meaning that when the sun hits certain portions of the map, the changes will be seen almost immediately, but other times they won't be as noticeable. With that said, even when there was no natural light source around to reflect the shadows of rays, you can still see the differences when compared to vanilla Minecraft. There is obviously a couple of reasons for this. First of all, in this RTX version of the game, every block is more naturally smooth, and I assume that is due to the fact that they want the light to bounce off of every block more naturally. With all of that said though, let's just talk about the map overall. When you download it in the map store, you should note that it does come with plenty of limitations. If you want everyday ray tracing, you are far better off just looking for a mod. On this map, although there is plenty of resources around, you won't be able to fully survive or properly build here. It is clear that this map was designed to show off what ray tracing can do and nothing more. There is no option for a creative mode, and on top of that, they also strip some of the core survival features away. The most notable change was the fact that for some reason each storage space can only hold up to 12 blocks at a time. For instance, usually when you mine, you can stack up to 64 of the same block in a storage space, but on this map it is only 12. Now I do not know why they decided to do this and set this type of limit. I can only imagine that it did it so that people know that this map is for exploring and not for survival. I also do not know if the other maps have the same type of limitations as well, but I can only imagine that they do. I did very little exploring outside of the big town or city, but the little that I did do made it clear that there was not much going on anywhere else. Based on what I saw, even the biomes were limited, so this really is not the place for you if you want a challenging survival map to live on. This map is for viewing purposes only, and on that front it does deliver. As the sun sets and start to reflect differently, you can start to truly admire just how beautiful everything is. So now that I was done with this map, I wanted to go back and try a few other maps as well. Now one that caught my attention immediately was the Neon District. It is clear that this map was inspired by Cyberpunk, so I thought that it would be perfect. When I made it into the world, the changes were obviously immediate. The way that the colors bounce off of each other is truly amazing. The entire nightlife on this map was truly great. Incorporating every aspect into an actual survival game is also fantastic. Every block just have so much detail and life. But with that though, that is pretty much where all of the praise ends. This map, just like the previous one, is not for survival or any actual playing. It is designed for you to admire the light and reflections, and that is all there is to it. There is even more limits to this map as it is completely creative. If you want to build an amazing structure, you can definitely add something here, but once again you are probably better off just starting your own map and downloading a mod that can do the same. I do not want to criticize this map too much because obviously you should not go into this world expecting anything else other than visuals. The world shown here is beautiful, and with that it does do a great job of showing off ray tracing and what this feature is actually capable of. After playing through the first two maps, I can draw a few pretty clear conclusions. First of all, it is now more clear than ever why we do not have RTX for Xbox yet. We don't even have proper RTX for PC yet. I do not know why I was under the impression that if you play on PC, the option to enable ray tracing in any random seed was there. After playing it now, I do have a much better understanding of the limitations that come with this feature on PC. The fact that RTX is not readily available yet shows that we still have some ways to go before achieving the goal of full Minecraft ray tracing, at least officially. Secondly, it does not seem that Mojang is working on this feature at all, not on PC and not on console. The worlds that I play in so far was all Nvidia's doing, and ray tracing here is being used as nothing nothing more than a gimmick to show off the power of the RTX cards. I still have more worlds to explore and play through, but the limitations of RTX are already showing. I do have a couple of questions though. First of all, if pre-built RTX worlds are available in the marketplace for PC players, why can they not make those worlds available for console players as well? I'm not a programmer and I do not understand anything about video game development, so I do not want to judge too much, but copying these worlds over to a console should not be that hard. If you can figure out FPS boost and backwards compatibility, surely you can figure out how to copy over a pre-built RTX map to a machine that is more than capable of handling it. I know that RTX worlds on PC are Nvidia, but AMD is still more than capable of accessing them as well, and more importantly, this is something that Mojang themselves should be doing. It took me playing through RTX enabled Minecraft myself to understand the true current limitations of the feature. The reality is that we do not have any real ray tracing possibilities at the moment unless you enable mods, which I highly recommend that you do. Now, do I think this is a big problem? The answer is obviously no. There is no need for Mojang to do anything when it comes to PC ray tracing for Minecraft. It has existed in the game for years now, and even though it would be nice if you can just go into your settings and enable it instead of having to install the mod, it is still a small price to pay. Ray tracing as it stands is nowhere close to being ready yet. Nvidia labeled RTX as the future of gaming years ago, and since then they have been going hard trying to promote it. They have used every tactic available to do so, even renaming their graphics cards. Using Minecraft as an advertisement is a great strategy, but ultimately also a sad one for fans who have been calling for this feature for a while now. After playing it on PC, it is clear that Minecraft RTX is nothing more than a gimmick to sell more cards.